OTK decks, it doesn't matter how much security +1 they have, it doesn't matter how many swings they have, as long as we can recover security to the max, it just doesn't matter. Check out the latest drop with the Divine Warriors and Regal Guardians playmats. We got tons of other cool merch on the AVAULT store, and if you're located in the US or Canada, you can even get free shipping for orders over $100. Thank you guys for all the support, and this wouldn't be happening without you.
Okay, so for the first game with the Angels, we're playing up against Angemon with its OTK build and with the Savior Huck back at 4, which I know many of you guys are really excited to see as well. But here, mainly focusing on the Angels. Today, Sam is going to be piloting this deck because it's one of his favorite decks to play. But we're also going to go through it together and sort of like talk about what their game plan is, how they play, and what the whole idea of the Angel decks works. So it looks like they keep their hand right off the bat, which is great because they can find pieces to search with Kudamon right here. Going into Patamon as well, setting up for next turn is always good. And getting 2 hits right there with a Magnamon Ace and TK, really good cards. When it comes to facing off against like red decks or big stack decks that make multiple checks, it's really important that you can want to try and turbo into your Digivolution as quickly as possible and cycle through as many security as possible at the same time, so that you can set up for potential bombs as you recover if you're good, or just ramp up into your higher stack and build a bigger security stack so you don't get one-shotted as easily compared to most decks. And it's a pretty good indicator and sort of like a representation here where you can see how it's really important to sort of, again, cycle through your pieces and remember what you have in the security stack as you're digivolving. Finding a Shadow Seraphi is going to be really crucial here against this deck, especially against red decks that make multiple checks, and using Emissary of Hope as well to help you digivolve for free. And like I mentioned, remembering what's in your security, and because you always get to see the access, the resource of it, and always get to see it, is very important to remember that information. You're working with a new dynamic and new dimension of resources that no other deck has, and the better you remember it, it's going to be beneficial because a lot of the effects revolve around digivolving cards that are vaccine from your security, and you can digivolve for free and basically gain a lot of advantage. So right there, going into Seraphimon, controlling board a little bit by minusing DP, but also go for the aggressive playstyle at the same time is really crucial. So you want to swing and sort of establish like a lot of momentum and security advantage as early as possible. Now, you guys can see sometimes you draw into cards like Wyvern's Breath. These are the cards that you really want to have in security, which is a little bit unfortunate because once it's in your hand, it's not as useful as it really seems to be, because hard playing Wyvern's Breath is a lot of memory. And again, there's no way to really put it back in security as well either. And that's sort of the downside when it comes to playing like the Angels deck. But that's totally fine. Then you switch gears to the offensive playstyle, like here as Sam is just turbo digivolving and try to cycle through his security as much as possible, again repeating the same process and the steps and combos, giving Seraphimon extra security +1 to deal more checks and deal a lot of damage. And at this moment, the Angemon player is only left with 1 security, and then finishing and topping it off with Shadow Seraphi. It looks like they're trying to contemplate to go into Angemon X, but they don't get to recover because there's 5 or more, so there's really no need to. And you can just sit tight with 2 big bodies stacked right here. And now the Angemon player is forced to do something at this point. When it comes to Angemon and red decks like these, like big stack decks, all they're really trying to do is just find their pieces in the early stages of the game. And once they gather all their pieces, then they can go for the big explosive combo, which, you know, they're forced to do something here. They have to do it. They have to get rid of our bodies, because otherwise the next turn Sam is just going to swing for game and just take down the opponent right there. And they do move out, but again, it's just very tricky for them because it doesn't seem like they're finding the optimal pieces that they really want to see. They do get into Angemon here, playing Sistermon's Shell from BT10. They can also Digivolve there with Savior Huck, because Savior Huck, when Digivolving, plays a Sistermon for free. They're going to blitz here and try to play and cycle through more stuff. Looks like it's unfortunate they didn't really find any additional Sistermons. I'm pretty sure they have more in hand, which you guys can see here. Continue to go up the chain, and this stack is actually really threatening against many other decks generally, because it actually does security +3. Tai, Greymon, and Angemon itself gives security +1, and it's going to be 4 checks in total when this goes through. And you guys can see how scary it is, because once they gain memory, they can unsuspend and swing for another 4 checks, which basically clears out all the security here essentially. But thanks to Shadow Seraphimon, we're able to de-digivolve them 1 at a time, every security they hit into us. So this is the best protection. Shadow Seraphi is really good against red decks and aggro, even Wargreymon decks in general too, and security looks great. And really, it's kind of unfortunate side things with the Jesmon. I don't think they can do too much at this point. They finish their turn and we just end up like taking them out. 2 bodies on the board. Sam's playing a little bit careful, I guess. There's a lot of resources to use with physical training as well. So, I mean, you can just swing in there and just finish game. But I believe, you know, just in case that there's like a security bomb, like a Crimson Blaze or something like that, I think just climbing through the stack safely just makes most sense. Going into Geograve for free, which is really good for this deck because it lets you play Tamers for free as well at the same time. You can synergize with TK if you ever have it. But again, it's just cycling through, going into Angemon, and then, you know, going into Angemon X and recovering all that security that was just taken out just by that one shot here. And I guess it just makes sense to go for it and just finish it off after going to the most optimal contingency plan. So right here, we're just talking, I believe, just trying to see again if there's anything better. But yeah, just finishing game just like that. Okay, so for game 2, we're going to be playing against Mirage Galgamon this time, which is also a very highly anticipated BT14 deck, just because it has a lot of new tools and upgrades to make it really powerful, consistent, and super strong. Once again, Sam is piloting this deck. I'm not sure why they set up the security right off the bat there, and I guess he decided to, yeah, Mulligan was definitely the choice there. You know, it doesn't look good at all. There's no rookies, it's all level 6s, it's just 5s, no search cards, nothing to play. So yeah, Mulligan is definitely for sure there. But yeah, for Mirage Gal, they can get very explosive with damage, but as long as we can recover enough and to the point where, you know, their damage can't really fully OTK us that quickly, it should be okay. You know, we're really hoping for strong security to sort of help us out a little bit. But it's also difficult to deal with because they have that new Bukamon egg you can see here, which gives them jamming. So it's going to be really tough. So we did thankfully find a rookie in the Kudamon right here, go into TK, and were able to sort of like draw and find a bit more pieces, grabbing a Angemon, you know, setting up, cycling through the security, which is really important for this particular deck because cycling through, looking at it, and keeping sure of what sort of information and cards you have in there and resources to play around is sort of like the main priority and sort of the main biggest sort of strengths of this deck to really keep in mind. Now, going to Kudamon once again, finding more pieces and trying to see what we can grab. I think Seraphimon makes most sense here just because we can get into it later. It is our boss Digimon. It is the one that can sort of give us more power and attack. And then we can go into TK right here, setting one up. We are putting it away, but that's totally fine because there is always the option card Emissary of Hope, which we can play to sort of Digivolve back into it. And as long as Sam remembers that it's in there, he can always get into it at any time when he needs to, when he goes for the turbo combo. Now, the only sort of bad thing or like not as great situation that he's currently in is that there's not seeing any training cards that he has that can help him sort of Digivolve and turbo Digivolve into his deck. So then otherwise he could have been able to go for much more aggressive plays way earlier on. And therefore, you know, he had to go for default and sort of pay like full cost for Digivolving at the moment and sort of just like go through security, giving the Mirage Galgamon a bit more time to set up. And Mirage Galgamon is really all about setting up. And once they set up, they're ready to go and go for the full combo. But now going back to our turn, we can now use Emissary Hope, going to Seraphimon for essentially just 1 cost for the option, which is absolutely amazing, recovering a ton of cards, gaining memory, drawing a little bit more, and cycling, using Seraphi to take out bodies and swing in aggressively as soon as possible because, yeah, you want to establish as much advantage and try to progress towards the game state and your win condition as quickly just before they come out and start to take us down. So here, just thinking of a follow-up play, we have a Patamon raising, we got, you know, a few options right here. We can even go to Shadow Seraphi if we want to, and it looks like they're gonna go into their big combo next turn regardless. So we want to actually go into Shadow Seraphi. We're gonna Digivolve into Kaze right here. We can use that to threaten for a Blast Digivolve potentially, if Mirage Gal respects us, or otherwise we get to surprise them. They go to 3 anyway, so I believe Sam's also just contemplating what to play here, whether he should go for physical training, or maybe he was even thinking of going into Patamon. Does he want to sort of Digivolve, whatnot? The line really looks like you're either going to be hard playing Patamon or you're going to go for the training card right there. But it does make sense to swing into Kazemon, assuming first that the Mirage Gal can be bounce some of your stuff. So Therefore, playing another Patamon right here, setting up for next turn potentially after their big turn combo. They can only really bounce 2 things at this moment, right? So they're gonna have to make a choice, and we're gonna have to be able to keep bodies right there. They don't have the Gaomon that bounces a level 3 either, so you know it's pretty okay in this situation. Going into Mirage Gao, and I guess thinking of what to bounce right here, which we're making them sort of like make a decision, because if they don't bounce the Kazemon, we can potentially blast Digivolve and sort of like get a lot of like DP reduction effects going on. But if they bounce the Kazemon, it also helps us because Kazemon is a hybrid for game. So hybrid for game, we can go for like, you know, attacks, and they only have 2 security left. And if they don't end us right here, right now, then we can end them next turn. But they do go into burst mode right here, bouncing a bunch of stuff. They're going to go for the big full-on combo. They do have Arrow Vegemon underneath, giving security +1. So they can actually plow through all of our security here in one go, and bottom decking all the cards in our hand. Just giving a quick check. Oh, really painful because Kazemon got bottom decked now, which really ruins our plans, and it makes it very tough. But if you guys notice, we're actually okay. We're not too worried about it because they're gonna run into something big right here. If you guys notice in security, boom, Wyvern's Breath. Even though with jamming, even with all that kind of bouncing and all those attack security, Wyvern's Breath is just insanely good because it can just take out that body. And the Mirage Gao burst mode is only 15k. There's no DP buffs in the stack whatsoever, and it's just entirely gone like that, which is really, really good for us. Now it gives us an opportunity, or Sam an opportunity, to sort of make a comeback. And now the Mirage Gao player has to basically sort of just rebuild their board and rebuild and see what they can get into, and they're trying to threaten with an extra body here and continue to search and re-find their pieces all over again, which is going to be quite a bigger challenge for them too. So at this moment, really need to capitalize on how to sort of potentially maybe win the game right here. Really unfortunate, because if there was Kazemon, then you know it just makes sense to sandwich, just swing, and then just go into a hybrid for game to finish it off. But there is a way to sort of play around. There is still an opportunity. I can see that, you know, recovering, cycling a bit more. Really important that Sam needs to find a way to get rid of that Galgamon there, because if that Galgamon stays, potentially the next turn they can Digivolve into a level 5 and go into level 6, and then continue the whole combo all over again and make enough checks and somewhat just take us out. So here, finding Angemon, going into Angemon before that as well, going to Angemon X to recover as much as possible, gaining that memory back here, cycling through and going to Seraphi here just to take out that body. Unfortunately, can't really just go for game just because, you know, with a lack of like resources that we have established, but we're getting rid of that body. Now they have to reset up because again, they have to now they get to hatch their egg, giving us one more turn, and the next turn will basically determine everything, because then we could potentially just go for a game like that. If we're able to recover security, then Seraphimon gains security +1, go for 2 checks, Patamon finishes off, or whatever body we have on the side at that time. And here they go for a Kumamon. Seems to be that they're trying to look for the level 5, and I'm not really seeing it. They really seem to need a level 5. Kind of dangerous here too, because the other level 5 that Galmon plays is actually Zudomon. So here the party is actually having to get rid of that Kumamon, because this could be a bait right here. There could be a Zudomon ace, just comes out and sort of like bottom decks the Patamon, and then we can no longer go for game. So we're going to use the Patamon here, which is really good. Go into Geo Gray essentially, and then getting to just recover a bunch of security and cycle through. But yeah, Sam kind of just jumped ahead over there and Digivolve ahead of time. So we're just, you know, rewinding a little bit, just saying, you know, using Patamon starter main first before he actually got into the rookie and draw, letting him cycle here, finding the pieces, and then going to Geo Gray, recovering technically, so then Seraphimon's effect can come in, taking it out, Kumamon, so now it can safely swing and go for game just like that, which is really clutch and really cool.
Now you guys can see what I meant in the very beginning on all that matters is just recovering security, so much to the point that no matter how many attacks they come at you, it will never finish the game off. So if you guys want to see more BT14 gameplay, be sure to check this video out right here, right now. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you in the next video, and this is AVAULT signing